Hi, I'm Jade from KA Parts. In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove and change your worm gear. You will need to change your worm gear when it is broken. It is designed to be the first part that breaks when the mixer is put under pressure. The tools you are going to need are a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, barrier cream, gloves, kitchen towel, drift punches, sizes 3 and 8, a hammer, a mallet, a pot of grease, and a cradle. Use kitchen towel to try and keep your work area clean as it can get messy. We are now going to unscrew the end cover. To do this, you will use a screwdriver and you'll need to unscrew the screw at the top of the end cover. You can lift the end cover off. We are now going to remove the 2 screws at the back of the mixer so that we can remove the trim band. Keep all your screws together safely so that you don't lose them for when we put the mixer back together. We can remove the trim band by just lifting off the mixer carefully. Now you will remove the drip ring. To do this, you'll need a screwdriver. Put the screwdriver into the gap and tap the drip ring off. You are now going to turn the mixer upside down onto the cradle. The mixer is very heavy, so be careful while you do this. We are now going to look down the base and we'll need to loosen the hinge pin set screw, which will allow us to use a drift punch and a hammer to remove the hinge pin. Now get your drift punch and place it on the hinge pin and gently tap it out using the hammer. Now take off your pedestal. Now knock out the pin holding the planetary to the shaft. You will need a drift punch and a hammer. You may need someone to hold the mixer steady while you knock it out. Again, this can be tricky to do as the dried food makes it stiff. Your pin is now removed. Now to remove the planetary, you need 2 flathead screwdrivers. You need to put them in the gaps either side of the planetary and then gently prise it up until it comes out. Be careful, this can be very greasy. It should just pull out. Now your planetary is removed. You will see 5 special screws. You need to unscrew these all the way out. Now you'll need to remove the 4 mounted screws, located at the front and the back of the mixer. You now need to remove your gear case from your housing. To do this, take 2 flathead screwdrivers and put them either side of the mixer and prise them up until you can feel it coming apart. Then you can lift it. It's going to be really greasy, so be careful. Now you can see your worm gear, which is covered in grease. This would be a good time to clear the grease around it. I'm going to show you how to remove the grease. You are going to need a lot of tissue, using a combination of scraping it and wiping it. Remove as much of it as you can. Remember to wear gloves or put barrier cream on your hands. Just try and remove as much of it as you can. Try and get into the gears as well, twisting them. It is a good idea to replace the grease, especially if the worm gear has failed. The nylon from the gear is often embedded in the grease. If you do not have fresh grease and decide to reuse the old grease, carefully remove any foreign matter to help prevent problems later. Now you can easily remove the worm gear by removing the 3 screws around the worm gear and bracket. Now you can put your new worm gear and bracket on. Slide it into the same position and re-screw the 3 screws back in. This may be hard as the area is still greasy. Now you have your new worm gear and bracket attached. Now we are going to smother the worm gears in grease. You can use gloves doing this. You just pick up the grease and you smother it in. Make sure that all the teeth have got it in too, so it helps it to move around. Keep going until it is smothered. At this stage, it is best to remove the gasket. If you decide to reuse the old gasket, clean it carefully. Now you need to put your gear case back onto the housing. This should just place on and fall into it, but if it doesn't, just jiggle the shaft until it's found where it's meant to sit properly. Then you just need to remove the extra grease around the edges. Now you need to insert the 5 special screws and the 4 mounting screws. Now your mixer is back together, you will need to put some extra grease around the gears around here and on the shaft. Now all the screws are back in, you are going to be putting the planetary back on. To do this, just slide it on. Then drift punch and put it through the hole to make sure it is lined up with the shaft so it's lined up properly. Then you get your pin and put it through. Just knock it back in using the drift punch and a hammer. The pin goes all the way through so that it's flush. Next, we're going to be putting the drip ring back on. To do this, just place it on and then using a rubber mallet, just tap down on it to make sure it goes properly into place so that there are no gaps. Now you are going to need to put your base on. Just place it on like this. You will then need to put your hinge pin through. You may need someone to help you do this. To put the hinge pin through, you just slot it in through the hole and then using a drift punch and a hammer. It can sometimes be difficult to line it up properly. If you lift it a tiny bit, it can sometimes help. Keep hammering until the pin is flush through. Now the hinge pin is in, we need to retighten the grub screw. Just place the screwdriver in the slot and tighten it up. Now we are going to turn the mixer back upright to finish the last bits. Now it's the trim band. Just take the trim band, then pop it back over and screw it back in. Then put the end cover on, making sure no wires are stuck or caught. Make sure it's fitted on properly, and then take the screw and screw it back in the top. We are now going to turn the mixer on to make sure we have fitted the worm gear correctly. The planetary should spin freely. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any queries following this video or you've seen any parts you'd like to order, please visit our website www.kaparts.co.uk.